Cori Bush making some very controversial comments about people opposing woke policies. The Democrat throwing gasoline on an already hot issue. Watch this.
When you say I'm anti-woke, when you talk about wokeness, you're saying I'm anti-black and I don't want black people to speak up for themselves. I don't want equality and justice for black folk. You should be on the side of folks who are woke because we're saying no more oppression against our community. Unless you are saying I'm racist, white supremacist, and I'm bigoted, stop talking about wokeness. And you can't tell me that I'm wrong because I'm from the very movement where this came about. Don't let a fascist tell you what being woke means.
Okay.
All you have to do, you listen to not even a complete 60 seconds of that. And it's amazing how stupid people in America have become that were voted into office. A narcissistic race go round carousel, black woman, of course, now basically in so many words saying, if you don't agree with me, you're a racist. Still talking as if though it's 1840. That her people are just, woe is her people. That woman's making $175,000 a year. Probably spends $300, $400, maybe $1,000 for a hair job. She's got it rough, right? Got to get her nails done. And Cori Bush is not the brightest duck in the pond. To be anti-woke is not to be equated with racism. What you've heard her say in so many words, she doesn't like white, independent, conservative people that think for themselves. She doesn't like that. So much for diversity, so much for celebrate diversity. If you don't agree with her, you're a problem. Isn't that how Hitler and Stalin and Lenin, Mussolini, Kim Jong-un, isn't that how they think? Are we not getting this? The stage is being set. The construction vehicles are all on site preparing the way to bring in this one world nonsense. Cori Bush is not intellectual. Cori Bush is not speaking facts. She says, I know I'm right. I know you're deceived. I left her a message yesterday. I should have recorded that. I'm sure that her and her staff will not listen to it. Why would they? I was polite. I cannot believe that the American people have elected buffoons into office. She's acting as if though racism is still so strong today. Failing to realize she sits as a representative on Capitol Hill, can spew her bullshit and make a whole lot more money than me working with this nation's children, and the children that I work with believe like her. And let me tell you, the Democrats are failing those kids. This woman doesn't talk about abortion. She doesn't talk about the fact that black men leave her black women in the shiploads. 75% of black women are raising children by themselves. You know, it's funny how the black community fails to talk about its own faults, flaws, deep state flaws within their own community. And they're always projecting. This is not an intellectual. This is an emotionally driven logic that looks just like Whoopi and how many others. saying the same thing, beating the same racist imagination drum. She gets up in the morning and people are yelling N-word at her, right? Spraying fire hoses at her, right? Making her pick cotton, right? That woman has more damn rights than I, as a white male, does in this society. I live in a community where it's 57% black. And I've been bold enough to finally come out and speak out and said, if I ever move again, I will never move to a place that's predominantly black because it doesn't work. Ask black people themselves. When you listen to Cori Bush, it angers any thinking American to think that that garbage got elected. And I'm going to call it garbage. Keeping the racist drum alive. She has no idea we're headed towards a one world government, or maybe that's what she wants. Her views are not Christian. Her views are not accurate. Her views are not even remotely near truth. America has deep problems. We're letting illegals flood in. We let the Democrats do systemic genocide with 61 million children killed. Where's her speaking out in angst about that? Just like AOC complaining about the treatment of Muslims. When's the last time you've heard of Muslims being ill-treated in this country? I haven't. You know, I find it interesting that black people, now because of people like Cori Bush, can gang up on us, tell us we're white supremacists, we're entitled, privileged, whatever. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, you guys are tearing our fucking country apart. You're robbing and looting $900 worth of goods out of stores in California. We all see what color's doing it. And you're not saying a damn word about that, are you? Seriously, what needs to happen in this country is an overthrow. No, not a January 6th. But the rest of thinking Americans need to find a way to get these clowns out of office and say, no more, you are banned. She's a self-centered, Afrocentric woman. If you don't believe like her Afrocentricity dictates, you're racist. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't want the black people in charge in this country. I've seen enough where I live. Corruption, crime escalating, black on black violence. And it's the same in every place where they're dominant. I find it interesting that not one person stands up and speaks out against her ridiculous foolishness. Let's add to the crazy pile, shall we? There's a big old fire raging in Canada somewhere. Trudeau hasn't said anything. New York is having respiratory problems. People, I heard on Levin last night that people are trying to find a way to sell their house fast. It's funny how fickle New Yorkers are. Now all of a sudden they want to get out of there because of a fire, which will not last forever. They said it is the worst pollution New York has had historically. Wait a minute. I thought all those carbon monoxide cars are causing the problems. The global fuckaroos that are claiming that spherical heating is a problem might ought to look at the actual science of that one. The fire is generating more pollution and harmful air than a bunch of smoking, puffing vehicles. I was thinking about something this morning that what you have going on right now in this country, people that make way more money than I do, they're not content to make their money and build their house and watch HGTV or live on an island or drink Mai Tais or pina colada somewhere. They want to fuck with you. The Democrats, the elites, the rich, the Justin Trudeaus, the Soros, these whack jobs, because that's what they are. They want to take away your freedom and want to fuck with you the same way that Hitler's men in Auschwitz and the death camps did. They got bored. Let's fuck with humans. Let's experiment. Let's see how much torture they can take. Let's sate our curiosity to how extreme we can be to these people. And that's what's going on. These clowns called Trump Hitler. And look, notice the timing of this indictment. Right when Biden's got a bunch of shit coming out about him. You remember Bill Clinton? Monica Lewinsky was sucking his penis in the Oval Office. Did Cori Bush say anything about that? No, she ain't gonna. Did any of the Democrats say anything about that? They didn't consider that an impeachable offense. Did they care about his own wife? If I was married to Hillary, I think I'd be looking at playing with somebody else myself. Just saying. But that man had no ethical integrity to do what he did in the Oval Office on the job, where all the public got to know that he got a blowjob on tax dollars. Isn't that awesome? And the Democrats didn't call for impeachment. They didn't say a fucking thing. Now we got all this shit coming out where the big guy lying right to Americans' face. He's been making big money off of this Hunter crap. And as soon as they start finding some smoking gun, Biden's Department of Justice is slamming at Trump. Remember Hillary Clinton had deleted 30,000 emails? Whatever became of that? Nothing. The Democrats are today's mafia. And black people think that they're so, what's the word I'm looking for? They get elected to office and they can put their little feather in their cap and say, another black woman gets to speak. And guess what? A whole lot of Americans don't give a shit about you, honey. I don't. I don't care. You are bothering me because you say things that are false. To say that anti-woke is equated with racism is intellectual ignorance of the highest order. To be anti-woke means we don't go for all this LGBT crap. Teaching children it's okay to be a drag queen and having drag queens read stories to them in public libraries, starting with Minneapolis. To be anti-woke means we don't agree with all your so-called environmental disaster scenario BS. I have a greater chance of getting run down by some idiot on the road today than I do by spherical heating. And the Democrats are so focused on guns. And now the kids are chanting at a public school, NRA, how many kids have you killed today? And somebody fires back with none. But how many have Democrats killed in the name of abortion? 61 million and counting. The hypocrisy of the left is self-evident. The hypocrisy of the left is self-evident. They are killing children and calling it choice. So no wonder a woman like Cori Bush can get elected in. Her voting support base is equally anti-intellectual. Her voter support base likes pulling people in that are not going to change the country for the better, but turn it into a black dystopia where the blacks have all the rights and we don't, and we can be stolen from, looted, probably have to offer our houses up to them, and who knows what else they've got in the wings. Cori Bush is a radical danger to this country. That we have a Capitol Hill that even allows her to say these kinds of things. Somebody should have said, you know what, that's not appropriate. You're condemning Americans because they're anti-woke. Guess what, Cori? I'm going to fight for my right. See my white fist? I'm going to fight for my right to disagree with you. And now you think you're cute by calling us a racist because we don't hold to your Afrocentricity. No, I don't. You're a racist. You don't accept us. You don't accept diversity in thought and expression. Yesterday, I was doing a repair job. On a large vehicle. I turned on the local radio station, which plays the 80s. And mind you, I'm working with all black people. And another person I know comes up and he says, man, I thought, who's playing that music? I know. Let me rephrase that. None of my people would listen to any of that. I mean, it's amazing how it's okay for them to say things that are so racist, so tactless. And I was doing my job listening to the music that I grew up on, and I'm going, you know what? I'm proud of my culture. And I'm getting tired of these Afrocentric people that spend more damn money on their fucking hair than their heart. These women that get voted in that are emotionally driven logic are going to tell us that we're wrong because we don't agree with them. They don't like the word diversity when it comes to the fact that if you were to actually sit down and talk to people on a global level, most of the people around the world don't agree with the Afrocentrist craziness that goes on in the U.S., including other Africans in Africa. And I've said this a million times. I have friends in Africa. Do not confuse African with Afro-American. Afro-American has absolutely nothing in common with Africa. And they love to wear that on their sleeve. I'm African-American, so I started saying I'm Irish-American. Oh, really? You're from Ireland? No, but I'm Irish-American. Well, how can you say that? Well, how can you say you're African-American? Do you not see that the black community for decades has tried to single themselves out and hold themselves up with the Pharaoh elitist complex? Have you not seen it? It's pretty self-evident. And this stuff is rammed like a tuba right in somebody's ear, blasted on us. Whites are still a majority in this country, and they don't like it. And if I remember correctly, they were brought over here as slaves. They were emancipated, but they refused to leave and go back to all black community. They group up in their black communities here. And if you look at those black communities in the US, it's not safe. And I love how these people can shit talk about us. I live in a black neighborhood. People feel safe with me here. They don't feel safe with their own damn kind. My next door neighbor's got bars all over his windows and motion light, or not even motion lights, but floodlights that stand all night lighting his property. Is it because of me? No, it's because of his own people. Isn't that interesting? Cori Bush is nuts. I mean, the fact that somebody of such low IQ can get voted in is just, that's what ought to concern you people. That people voting in these people are not that bright. Remember, Justin Trudeau, when COVID-19 came down, said, this is the Great Reset, and was smiling. He didn't have to stay at home. He didn't have to lose his income. And he steals the money from a truckers organization that didn't tear up a damn thing. And the liberal media spun that as these guys are such dangerous and tried to say they were white supremacists. There were black, India, Pakistani truckers in that mix. Just like Kamala Harris, we're told that she's black. She's 50% India. We never hear about the India part, do we? Afrocentricism is self-centered narcissism in this country, rammed down our throats. I see it where I live. I go out and walk in the flea market or in public. Black kids, black people look. They don't accept diversity, many of them. I'm so sick of this crap. And until Americans rise up and tell these elites and get these crappy people out of the U.S. House of Representatives, out of the Congress, and get them out of there and run the country like they're supposed to, and not tell everybody what they can drive and demand that everybody buy electric. Because guess what? Fires are going to happen, creating a pollution cloud that causes New Yorkers to go to the hospital. Cori Bush is a whack job. That's all that needs to be said. Another Afrocentric black narcissist who doesn't like the fact that other people don't agree with her, specifically white people, that she can blanket broad brush paint as white supremacists and racists. You tell a lie long enough that people start to believe it. There is no white supremacy like there used to be. But she's not smart enough to ascertain that. She lives in a bubble world. She lives in a snow globe world. 175,000 here, goes to her fancy apartment, fancy house. She doesn't understand what racism is. She's never experienced it. I have. But she ain't going to talk to people like me. She hangs out with her own kind. Cori Bush is a loser.